going to sound weird, but what if you started to treat yourself more like a business? What if you gave yourself bonuses and reviews that were check-ins as to what you're doing and how great you are, and maybe what you want to change? What if you had contracts that just held you accountable? What if you gave yourself days off without thinking about whose feelings you're hurt if you cancel Sunday brunch? What if you treated yourself like a business? Hey you! Yes, you! Welcome to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast, a podcast for people who want to disrupt their lives for a good reason, to make it count. I'm your host, Jen Glantz, and every week I'll drop a new episode with stories from real people just like you, who woke up one morning and decided to make big changes, starting with small things. We'll cover topics like entrepreneurship, love, failure, and self-care. Hey, you're not getting any younger, so let's make this an adventure. Ready? This week's episode is sponsored by my very own 90-day challenge. It is the kind of challenge that helps you start 2022 off with clear purpose, accountability, an actionable to-do list, and weekly fun challenges that push you closer to your goals, but also bring you joy in life, and you completely deserve that. In the challenge, we work together for the first 3 months of 2022 to help figure out what just happened in the year before that you lived, create 90-day milestones and game plans, and allow you to figure out really small steps to start working to achieve those goals and habits. Plus, there's one-on-one coaching, there's weekly feedback, there's access to workshops that you can watch on demand during the 90 days, there's group coaching, virtual hangouts, email support. It feels like you have your cheerleader best friend by your side during the 90 days for some good intentional life strategy. And if you're busy during the first 90 days of the year, that's okay. This is the kind of challenge that fits into your life and not the other way around. At most, you'll spend 30 to 45 minutes a week on this challenge, which isn't much time, but will really make you have so many incredible results. And the cool part about this is more than 87% of people who signed up again for this challenge were already challenge participants last year, which is super cool. The cost of the challenge is just $3 a day, which is nothing. That's less than a coffee. And for that price, to start your new year off in a way that's not stressful, that doesn't give you anxiety, but instead really considers who you are, what you want, and how to get there, that $3 a day will breed lifetime value for you. Hope to see you there. jenglantz.com/90, jenglantz.com/90. The challenge starts on Monday. Hey, any youngers, it's me, your host, Jen Glantz, back with another episode of the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. Can you believe that name? It is the truth, my friends. You're not getting any younger, but that honestly should not be something that stresses you out. It should be something that just allows you to stay accountable and allows you to understand that if there is something you want to do, if there is something you want to change, if there is someone you want to be, that you might as well get started on figuring out that journey now. In the spirit of this being a month where everyone is telling you, new year, new you, and I'm not telling you that, this episode today is a bit weird and a bit different, but I've got a kick out of the topic and I wanted to chat about it. It's all about how to treat yourself like a business. And I know you're thinking, Jen, that sounds stressful. That sounds so intense, but it's actually not. It's actually a smart approach to a brand new year. Rather than writing promises and resolutions and talking about what you're not going to do and all of these restrictions in your life, if you start to think of you as a business and you treat yourself that way, you're going to be successful. And not only that, but you're going to take care of yourself in a very unique and brand new kind of way. So here's what I have in mind for you and this mindset of you as a business. Number one, make some contracts with yourself. In business, we make contracts to hold people accountable. We make contracts when we're working with new people. We make contracts when things are at stake. So what are the contracts that you could make with yourself? If there is something that you desperately need to do and you need to do fast because it's going to benefit you or because the alternative would hurt you, perhaps you make a contract with yourself. At the end of 2021, Adam and I were doing a marriage inventory thing, and we were anticipating something that would be problematic for us in 2022, something that I knew would turn into a potential fight or just be super stressful. So we signed a contract where in the contract, we laid out exactly how we were going to handle it. We laid out exactly how we were going to deal with it and almost what the price would be if one of us backed out of that contract. And in the contract, we both put something in there that would be a little annoying to have to give up. For Adam, it was some of his cryptocurrency, which he adores and loves truly. And I put in something as well that meant a little bit to me. That way, when that situation arises, we have this not so legal but sort of fun contract that we both put out there that holds us accountable to that. That says, hey, we're going to handle it like this. And if we don't, this is the consequence. And I know consequence sounds like a mean word, a bad word, a negative word, but it basically allows you to have something at stake if something doesn't happen. So if there's something in your life that's pressing, that you really, really, really have to take care of because the alternative is going to hurt your life even more, perhaps you think about a contract that you can make with yourself where something's at stake. A really fun way of handling this that I've seen people do that I think is quite interesting is they'll do this thing, and there's like an app or website out there where you can wager a certain amount of money toward a goal. And if you don't hit that goal, then that money gets donated to a charity or somewhere that is like the opposite of what you stand for. So what I mean by that is like it could be political or it can just be something, but that way you are working towards something that's super, super important and there is a consequence attached to it. But again, not in this like serious, mean kind of way, but in a way that just helps you stay accountable. Next, oftentimes in business, we do reviews. At your company even, you might do annual reviews. And that's something to start to think about on yourself as well. And what I mean by that is once a month, do a check-in with yourself. How are things going that month? How are you feeling? What are the things you're proud of? What are you super grateful for? What surprised you even? And what are the things that maybe didn't go so well or that didn't work out the way you thought? Doing these monthly reviews helps you get a realistic pulse on who you are and what you're doing and how you're living your life. I do monthly reviews for myself, and I also do quarterly ones or 90-day ones where I check in and I do all of this just to make sure I know how my time is being spent and who I am during that time. That's the art of reviews. Next, bonuses. At a company or a business, you're given bonuses sometimes. What are the bonuses that you could add into your life, perhaps even on a monthly basis? For a lot of us, we spend much of the year with our head down, trying to get things done, trying to make moves, trying to make change, trying to make progress. Yeah, but what about the joy? What about the good stuff? What about the bonuses? I challenge you. Make a list of 5 things that you can give yourself as a bonus. And these things don't have to be money. These can just be nice things that you offer yourself once a month as a bonus, like you would if you were either working for a business or running a business. How about off days? In business, when you work a job, you get days off. You have your off days, your sick days, your personal days. How about giving yourself those as well? Maybe your job only gives you a certain amount of days off, but also you can give yourself those days in real life too. What I mean by that is that Saturday, when you're just not feeling great, take the day off. Don't feel guilty. Cancel your plans, even if that means somebody in your life might be temporarily upset with you. Start giving yourself more off days, just like you would at a company. Values. Businesses, companies, organizations have values, things they stand for, things they stand up for. What are your personal values? Sometimes if we don't know our values, we don't know our boundaries, and we don't know what we're showing up for and who we're showing up to be. How about budgets? I love talking about finance and money, and just like in business, you set budgets for spending. If there are things you want to do, Start looking at your finances and start budgeting for those things. And finally, in companies, we strive for growth. So look at yourself and look at you, and not with the stressful lens, but in the lens of what part of your life, what part of yourself are you eager and trying to grow in the moment? If we start to look at ourselves like a business, we start to have organization and strategy and guidelines for the good and the motivation and the accountability that sometimes we simply need in our lives to make progress and move forward and to just simply wake up and feel like we have a purpose. In 2022, perhaps you start treating yourself like a really successful business and see what happens. As always, all my love, cheering you on, Jen Glantz. Hey you! Thank you for listening to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. There are hundreds of thousands of pods out there, so thank you for listening to this one. You can find the show notes for this week's episode up on our website, anyyounger.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast on iTunes so that other ears around the world can listen too. Oh, and join our secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where over 1,000 people are talking about how to disrupt their lives, for a good reason, to make it count. Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz.